I come from fields of studies where debates and discussions about defining a city go on and on and on, and they've been going on for at least 100 years. And the most simplest is almost geometric, which is a bunching up on the plane. I don't know if that translates into Italian very well, but it's a very simple idea. A lot of people get together in a small space. And if you do enough of that, then you start getting to the point where you can call it a city. And that's kind of the way I think of it, because what is a city in one time in history is too small to be a city at another later time in history, when the scales have so grown that unless you have 500,000 people, you don't have a real city. Some people in my country say the only city that we have in the United States is New York. And New Yorkers say that, and there's that definition of the city. And I don't want to get into a big debate about it, except to say there are wonderful things about other places. Call them cities, or call them Parcheesi. It doesn't matter. They're still great places, and they are economically productive, as well as productive for people's satisfactions and happiness. The question of what is a sustainable city is an interesting question because of the crisis that the Earth is in. And my interest in sustainable is first of all a critical interest, which is the word is hurled around entirely too much. It is merely a fashionable term, like the way my teenage children used to use the word cool. Everything is cool, and everything that's cool now is sustainable, and vice versa. Everything that is sustainable is cool, and what's cool is sustainable. And that is not sustainable as an idea, because it's just ridiculous. And so we have to think about what it means really sustainable. And I'm very interested, especially in the environmental issue, and that is the degree to which the city itself could continue on virtually without end based on the amount of resources that it uses, and to what degree does that city, being a place of importance both as an exemplar to the rest of the world, as well as a place where new technologies and approaches are developed, which is a historical experience of what the city does. To what degree does it contribute to the sustainability of the Earth itself, to the larger dynamics that surround it? So it's not just what goes on within it, is that sustainable, but it's a question of to what degree does the way it does sustainability contribute to the sustainability of everything that's outside it. And when a city does that, I think it's sustainable. So I think that I think it's a misconception, and it's a dangerous one, to think that the competitive city is a sustainable city by virtue of its competitiveness and its success in being competitive. And I also think that a system in which cities are competitive with one another, that treat the world as a zero-sum game, that if I win, you lose, if you lose, I win, is a bad world and is unsustainable. And in terms of, and I would do everything I could to lessen the degree to which places feel competitive with one another and engage in that. And one reason, by the way, is how unsuccessful it has been in the past. So, for example, in the United States, when cities decide that all of them should have convention centers, that the best way to compete with another city is to have a convention center. So then they all build convention centers. And if they all build convention centers, nobody's better off, because there are not enough conventions. There's not an infinite number of conventions to satisfy the convention centers. And in the 19th century, it was in the United States, it was building canals. It was creating railroads and railroad stops. and it just creates more infrastructure than there's any use for. And so it is just a waste. It is a sink in which public money is lost and private money for no good outcome. So now there is this idea around that the creative economy and the creative city is the place to go, and that idea is the one we should use. And that idea, of course, was promulgated by an American author, Richard Florida, and I think it's got some good in it, because I think it's good to create creativity, and it compared to other things, I don't think it's bad. So it also shifts power in a more benign direction. For example, in the United States. So when people believe that creativity is the way to go, as indeed Mayor Bloomberg of New York believes, it means you give money to the museums because you think that makes the place more creative. I don't know if that's really true or not really true, but it's nothing bad to throw more money at already very rich museums. Go ahead and do that. And it means that you start honoring gay people, gay men, because they're seen as the fountain of creativity. Again, it might be right, it might be wrong, but there's no harm in doing that. And it's better to think that gays are the solution to your urban problems, debatable as that may be, than to think that the oil industry is, which in the United States is the alternative theory. So I think all of this creativity excitement helps lower the amount of authority that the extractive industries have, which are directly exploiting the earth, trying all they can to block all progressive political and environmental policies. Anything that can be done to weaken them makes the earth more sustainable.